I think that's something that a lot of people can sympathize with. We've had, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the equity and diversity and inclusion offices that they push critical race theory. They push a lot of different leftist. Okay, that's fair. So
We don't push critical race theory. We don't push GARE.
You're not associated with GARE?
There are links that our DE&I offices has used certain things. An example would be implicit bias, if you've heard of implicit bias.
Yeah, I've taken some of the training.
Okay, but it's a toolbox. First of all, it's only a department.
So I'm going to stop him right there. Yes, it is a toolbox, and the tools are garbage. So implicit bias training is critical race theory. Mr. Fenske may not know this, but implicit bias is the idea that that we are all racist at our core, and we need to be trained out of that, right? It believes the worst of people, and that is the foundation on which critical race theory is built. So Mr. Fenske may not realize it, but his diversity, equity, and inclusion office is teaching the beginnings of critical race theory. Now, he told me he doesn't want critical race theory, and I believe him. But Republicans need to do better about taking these innocent sounding ideas from the left that they build on to make this crazy notion that white people need to be paying, reparations and all this stuff. We've got to stop letting them give us the tools. We can tell them, no, people are not implicitly racist. And it came out a little bit while I was talking with him that he's heard accusations that Auto Impact is racist. Well, I'm sure that that's because they want to get rid of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusions office. He didn't say that he thought they were racist, to be clear. But he made the accusation to me, which is suspect. Whenever anybody tells me that somebody else is racist, I'm automatically suspect of that person. Mr. Fenske may, he may think that that's unfair for me to be suspect of him, but I've just heard racist so many times. I've been called racist so many times that it just makes me suspect that you're just using it as a club. Okay? He wasn't using it as a club, I don't think. He may have genuinely heard somebody say that that Ottawa Impact is racist. And he may have thought about that, and he may, just be repeating that because that's what he's heard. But it is almost always a club, and it is almost always untrue. Because racist now just means disagrees with the left. So, I didn't really get the sense that Matt Fenske is on guard really against these leftist ideas. He's against all the radical stuff. He said, no, we're not putting dudes in the female jail. We're not doing that. We're not going there. But 15 years down the road, after everybody's been through implicit bias training, what's the next step? What's the next step after that? It's little steps that the left uses to take Republican strongholds and indoctrinate them to believe all of their leftist doctrines. So that was just another area that I was unimpressed by his handling of that. And then the last part here. How did we get the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusions office? How did that come about here in Ottawa County, this Republican stronghold? Where did we get the funding for it? Who demanded it? Let's find out.
How much does Ottawa County spend? I had heard $200,000 a year on our Diversity of Equity and Inclusions office. Is that right?
It's in the neighborhood of that, yeah.
Okay.
For the first 3 years, it's been going for about 3.5 years. We didn't just kind of come up with, having this office. The big corporations in this county Shape Corporation, Gentex, Hayworth, all, chambers, foundations, they all came to the county and said, you guys really need to put together, a DE&I office, because companies demand that they have these offices.
Okay. Companies do not run our community. They do provide jobs. They provide many jobs. They're good for the community. But I just don't see Shape picking up and leaving if we say, no, we don't want a DEI office. That's leftist garbage, and we're not going to support it. So those are just some of the biggest things that I took away from the interview that I was like, I disagree with that. There were some other concerning things, like he said, I'm a big Second Amendment person. I hunt. I go sports shooting. And now I'm not going to say that he's not in favor of holding the government accountable with guns. I'm not going to say that he would never. I mean, he's an older guy. He's not thinking about going to war against the government, and neither am I, for that matter. But that's why we have guns. When you mention the Second Amendment and you don't mention defending yourself against enemies, both foreign and domestic, foreign or enemies domestically, right here in our state, when you don't recognize that, or you don't advocate for defending against enemies domestically as well, it just it doesn't sit right totally with me. There were other things, of course. There were a lot of good things. Like he I don't want to make this just don't vote for Matt Fenske, because there were a lot of good things. He mentioned the health department. They do Miles of Smiles. They feed a lot of children, a lot of migrant children, a lot of low income children throughout the community. So I'm not going to say that the health department is totally worthless, but the health department definitely did overstep their bounds. And Mr. Fenske has the idea that we can do nothing about it here at the local level. Ottawa Impact is the other way. They say that no, our community is controlled by us, not the state. So there are pluses and minuses, right? I see where he's coming from, saying, that he's got a lot of experience, that he knows what to do with, drainage and stuff like that, working in the community. I see where he says that, the experience is needed. But I also see where our government was set up, again, to be run by the people, for the people, right? So I'm not convinced that a regular person that has no government experience could not run and be successful. Maybe they might need a little bit more help. Maybe Mr. Fenske would be willing to help if he was voted out of office, and he could lend his, some expertise or information to the next person in that office. Maybe he would be willing to do that. I'm not sure. I didn't ask him about that. I should have. But I also see where Ottawa Impact is saying, no, we are not going to allow our community to be run by unelected bureaucrats up in the health department. Because generally, these are not laws that they're following. They're guidelines issued by the health department. They are not laws made by Congress, gone through the House and the Senate to become cemented into place. Congress established the health department and then said that they can make, rules and stuff. Then, they're just, we need to get back to the point where we are not allowing unelected bureaucrats to run our communities.